Welcome everyone, we have another test for you lined up today. Windows 11 Defender going up against ESET Smart Security Premium. So for Windows 11 on the left, we'll just have a look see at all the settings again. Okay, so if we look at the settings for Defender, so these will be the settings that we'll leave on. Controlled folder access is enabled. Firewall is enabled. Reputation based is enabled with the exploit. And then finally core isolation is enabled as well. Let me just go in there. Okay, it's enabled. And there is the services running for Defender. And these are the same settings as per normal. Okay, so that's that in a nutshell for Defender, nice and quick. We'll move over to ESET. Okay, so this is the latest version. I did update it. There was 2 updates that I did. So we'll just look at advanced settings. Okay, so as you guys can see, everything is set to aggressive. No exclusions. Advanced options are enabled. Real-time shields are enabled. Threat sense parameters are enabled. Remedy detection. Okay, and then cloud-based protection. As you guys can see, ESET LiveGuard is enabled. Submit files are enabled. And the LiveGuard function itself is to kill the running process and to clean it and block the execution until it receives the analysis results. Maximum delay is 5 minutes. And then host intrusion is enabled. Ransomware shield is enabled. And deep behavior inspection is enabled. Network protection is enabled. Firewall is set to automatic mode. NAP is enabled. Web access. Okay, so I think that's it for ESET. Just gonna quickly disable the protection for now so that we can extract the malware, and then we will continue the test. Hello everyone, apologies for the huge delay. I had to pause the VMs and attend to a couple of things, and I really didn't want to redo the test just for showing the times do match and whatnot, but the VMs were paused and we're back into it. So the full scan for Defender is finished. Let's just quickly see if there's any startup items left. I think while we wait, I'm gonna clean all these threads that ESET managed to get. Okay, so we still have two items trying to modify the display. I had that the last time. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and then including SMADF is 6. So ESET is quickly attending to these malware. And let's just close that. As soon as this is done, then I'm going to restart these two and then start with the third-party opinion scans, and then we'll look at the final results. Okay, ESET is finished. It didn't likely take that long. So startup for ESET is just the shepherd. Let's see if it's going to start up again once we restart the machines. And then we'll take the results from there and look at the third-party opinion scans. Okay, and the test results are in, so let's have a look, see what the results are saying. So for Windows Defender, Hitman Pro says we have one problem under temp. It's an exe, and then malware on the desktop, and then we've got these ones in the libraries. So these two in the library, and there, and then another suspicious file under the temp file folder again. So we have two malware outside of our normal locations. For ESET, it seems like we have this registry key and another registry key. Okay, but they might not be there anymore. Okay, so let's have a look here at Norton Power Eraser. Okay, so that same temporary folder again, and then we've got those files in the library again. For ESET, it's that shepherd, it's this program here. It keeps starting up. And then we've got app data, start menu. Yeah, so that's the VB script for the shepherd one. Okay, so this is the malware samples on the desktop. And then we've got this, that's on the documents and another registry key. Okay, so that's one registry key. For ESET, we have under app data local Microsoft iNet cache, so you have a temporary file there, and then it's malware on the desktop. Still quite a bit on the desktop in our test folder. Okay, and then we also have another registry key. It's that same conduit one that Hitman Pro picked up, so it's a POP. And then we've got one that says it's malware, and it seems like registry key for the SVC host, so it could have most probably added some malicious DNS in there. Okay, we'll close that. Okay, so last but not least, documents and settings. Public is those same ones again for the app data. So we have a couple of malware there. Okay, then we have app data roaming SVC host again. So it seems like these latest samples are a bit more intense than the ones we did yesterday. There are a lot more traces on these machines. Yeah, so we have quite a bit of malware there, then malware on the desktop, and malware on desktop. Okay, cool. No registry keys for Defender according to Malwarebytes. Then we have obviously Games Pico. So it's, I did see that one of the malware was Games Pico, so obviously that installed a bit. Then we have app data local again, Microsoft. So there's also a bit of shortcuts. Okay, and then we have that one again under my user profile and malware samples. Okay, cool. So there are for both of them a little bit of malware outside the normal test locations. Okay, let's see if there's anything running. Okay, so Windows Defender is up. Let's see if we can see anything that's naughty. Okay, now according to Process Explorer, let's have a look at ESET. Okay, now for startup items. Okay, so we still have quite a bit of startup items for Defender, unfortunately. So we have 2 startup items to give us control panel display options. Then this one that says document. So that's the one that's under my user profile. So that's a JavaScript. Scroll lock, so that's quite interesting. And another one, an exe. And then for ESET, we only have this one Shepherd, obviously, and that's the one that Norton rated as malware. Also have VBScript, so it's part of the startup. So this VBScript launches, and then it opens up the Shepherd to launch every time. So only one startup item for ESET, so that's not bad at all. Let's see if we've got any damage to our documents. Okay, download seems good. Our document seems good. Okay, and okay, so I think this is the end of this test, guys. So for Windows Defender, let's look at the pros and the cons. The cons, I would say, it seems like it did a little bit worse than the previous test, because obviously these were again the later samples. So the samples that were executed did manage to leave a lot more traces. There's not that many traces outside the normal 2 locations, but there are some fileless malware. Then obviously one of the malware obviously side installed SMADF, so this is for me also PUP. Then another app, this Windows RAR installed, so it replaced my WinRAR. And then we obviously have this QV cat tools. So these PUPs are obviously here. Then I would say the pros for Windows Defender, at least no major damage to our files and things like that. The machine is still fairly okay, but obviously there's no way that I'll trust this machine, or unless you can just use a good cleaner and look at all those results and clean them. For ESET, it did also really well, but the cons, I would say, is we have this persistent startup item. We obviously had, that's the Shepherd. SMADF also obviously installed, but it might be a legitimate SMADF, so hence maybe why they both let it install, but I'm labeling it as a PUP. Then we have this Play iWin Games thing, and then that same RAR program, and then also the Kiwi cat tools. So we have quite a bit of programs that are installed, but they might be legitimate programs, but then obviously malware just used that to get into the system. Cons, there is that obviously this one Shepherd system, which I've mentioned, but otherwise pros, I would say ESET did actually really well. It definitely did better than Windows Defender. And yeah, so obviously this is the Smart Premium, so this is the best of the home products. It has that sandbox technology, all of that's enabled. And yeah, I think this is the end for this test, guys. It was quite interesting for me. So for all of you who are using ESET or Defender, let me know what you guys thought about the test. This is our last test with our Windows Defender series. There were a couple of more tests that we wanted to do, but I think this gives everybody a good gist of where Windows Defender is lying with the more popular third-party AV vendors. So yeah, this is the last test. Let me know which test that you guys want next. If I do forget about a test, then just remind me in the comments. I do have quite a lot to do. So if I do forget about a test, then just remind me. And yeah, I think this is the end, guys. It was interesting for me. I hope it was for you as well. And then I'll catch you in the next one.